It started.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. This is the Frogwatch class for New River Valley chapter for the Virginia Master Naturalist. I'm Brenda Graff. I'm the one of the coordinators, and Judy McCord is the other coordinator. So we'll both be tag teaming for the class. Now, if you haven't done this before, the Frogwatch USA requires people that want to send in data. They need to watch a class, and they need to fill out 2 quizzes with 80% right on it. And then you can sign up in the Field Scope, which is the online data entry. Okay. Okay, can you have me share screen? I don't think.
It's in the middle of the bottom of your screen.
I'm clicking on it. Ah, there it is. Okay, just a second. Let me find. Oh, no, I need that. Okay. Let's see. Can everybody see that okay? This is the short version of the PowerPoint.
Woohoo!
Ah, here's the Woodwards. Okay, good. Okay, let me see. Okay, so what we're going over tonight is, let me move that other thing out of the way.
Akron Zoo's taking it over.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute, I can move it over there. Okay, just a second. I'm trying to move stuff out of the way. Okay, so first of all, we'll be talking about community science is another word for citizen science volunteers. So they're using both terms interchangeably now. And then this has to do with the Frogwatch USA. Okay, why did it? Okay, back again. Then we're talking about the amphibians themselves, the biology and everything. Then we're talking about the local frogs and toads that are found in the New River Valley, which there's 14, which I'll show you later. Then we're talking about the different types of wetlands. You need to know what type of wetland you're finding them in. And then the last part of the class we'll be doing is site registration on the Field Scope and data collection and how to enter it into Field Scope, the data in that. Well, now it's going to make me move it over to this side. Okay, now community science, their definition is a research collaboration between scientists and volunteers, same thing as citizen science. It expands opportunities for scientific data collection while providing access to scientific information to community members. This is appropriate for large-scale, long-term data. This helps the fact for the scientists, there's not enough scientists to go around collecting all the data. So they get citizen scientists to do that for them on a volunteer basis. And often they want them trained so they enter the data correctly, because if you don't put the data in correctly, it's no good to the scientist. And this helps to inform the public about our projects and that too. Okay, it won't allow me to do that then. So what is it allowing me to do? No, it won't allow me to do that. Okay. I don't use PowerPoint very often, so it's going to be a little bit, Okay. Now, currently, the current owner of Frogwatch USA is Akron Zoo. Even it says it's their flagship community science program. It's hosted by local chapters, began in 1998, but not with Akron Zoo. It began in 1998 with the U.S. Geological Survey. They're the ones you're probably familiar with that keep track of the volcanoes and the earthquakes. They do geology, minerals, hazards and everything. And then I think they passed it on to several other different other organizations. The one before
Most recently, the American Association for Zoological Parks and Aquaria.
right, and then they passed it last year down to the Akron Zoo, which is one of their sub whatevers. So it keeps getting passed along, but it's got continuous data from 1998. And then Frogwatch USA collects the data on frog and toad breeding calls. That's specifically what it's doing. Oh, okay. I'm still trying to figure this out. How come it won't allow me to?
At the bottom left, Brenda, there should be an arrow that is
Oh,
pointing.
okay.
There
Sorry.
you go.
Ah,
No worries.
Go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tanya.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Okay, so as I was explaining before, to become certified, you have to score a minimum of 80% on the following two assessments administered by your local Frogwatch chapter. Our chapter is the New River Valley chapter, the Master Naturalist. So a lot of the chapters have to do with zoos and aquariums. And there's other different organizations. There's other Master Naturalist chapters, and there's other associations too. But you have to do a volunteer training assessment, which means a bunch of it's an open house quiz, and I'll send you a copy of it after the class. And then the frog and toad call identification assessment, and you'll need to do some learning on your own for that. We'll do a little bit tonight, but of course, you're not going to be able to learn everything tonight. Okay, so this is, oh, also to let you know that this is the short version of the PowerPoint for the Frog USA classes. It's quite a bit cut down from the 4-hour long version that the Association of Zoos and Aquariums used to make us do. So I have put both the long version and the short version in the chapter Google
Right.
Drive. Thank you. And if you want more details beyond what we're showing you tonight, then have a look at the long version, and it's got more details and everything in case you're interested more in the biology and things like that. Okay. So, amphibians are cold-blooded, reptiles are cold-blooded. This means that they are ectotherm, which means their body temperature varies with the surrounding environment. If it's cold out, then they're going to get sluggish and cooler. They control their body temperature through external and behavioral methods like basking. Lizards will bask in the sunshine. Butterflies will do the same thing in the morning. When they're cold in that, they have to put their wings out and then soak up the sunshine. And I believe some of the vultures do that too in the morning time, and that when they're waking up, they hold out their wings and get some sunshine in. This adaptation allows for eating less and being inactive for extended time periods, which is an advantage if you're cold-blooded, is that being inactive, like wintertime, the frogs and the toads, salamanders, the reptiles, the snakes, and that will, I don't know if it's semi-hibernation or whatever you want to call it, but they slow down and they eat less at that point in time.
Well, an ectothermic organism, a lot of the calories that you take in go to maintaining your body temperature. Ectothermic organisms, the only way they control their body temperature by behavioral methods. So they don't need as much per pound as we do to maintain homeostasis, keep their metabolism going.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so amphibians are pretty old. They appeared on the Earth 350 million years ago. They're one of the oldest living vertebrate classes. Most of them live part of their lives in the water, generally as a larval stage, and then part on land, and that's generally the adult stage. They usually have gills during at least one stage of their life cycle, often in their larval stage when they're in the water. Then there's three orders. There's salamanders, frogs and toads, and the caecilians. And I don't think we have any caecilians in North America, do we, Judy?
I know we don't have any here. I'm not sure about other areas.
Okay, but they're legless, if I remember right.
More or less.
Yeah, they look more like worms or something like that, but different. Okay, now global diversity of amphibian species. You can see here from the colors, it's like the number of species. The light green means there's only a few species in that area. Dark green, you can get up to 41 to 50 species in one area. And then blue means you got like over 100 or over 60 species in one area. The blue ones you can see are in South America, probably the rainforest. And then you see a little bit in Africa. That's probably the rainforest there too. North America has green colored. Then of course Canada, where it's colder, they're going to have fewer. And of course Asia is going to be, well, depends upon where in Asia. That's going to have fewer because it's colder there. And then in North Africa, where you've got the deserts, you're not going to have any at all because it's too dry for them because they need moisture on their skin. Now, frogs and toads are known as anurines. The frogs have...
means no tail.
Oh, thank you. And toads are... Okay.
Sorry.
That's okay. Frogs have smooth and or slimy skin. That's because it has to breathe through the skin. They lay their eggs in clusters as opposed to the toads, which lay them in strings. They usually live in or near the water. They have skinny bodies with long legs, which means they can leap and jump pretty good. Now, their upper jaws have teeth, well, semi kind of teeth things in that. Any other things that you can think of, Judy?
We'll move on. I mean, no, we'll just go on. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Now, the toads, on the other hand, often have warty, dry skin. They lay their eggs in long strands. They usually live on dry land. That's because of their dry skin. They have fatter bodies with short legs, and they have to move in short hops because of the short legs and that, and they have no teeth. Okay, there is many reasons that frogs and toads are important. And the longer version of the PowerPoint will give you more details than that. But they're both a predator and prey in the ecosystem. They will eat a lot of insects. Some of them, the bigger ones, like the bullfrogs, will eat like mice and other things, even hummingbirds, the poor hummingbirds. They also prey themselves. Like for instance, snakes will eat them, blue herons will eat them, raccoons and other animals will eat them. They are also used for pest control. Like for instance, they'll eat a whole bunch of mosquitoes and everything. They're used as food by some people in the world. They're also used for medicines. The scientists have been studying them, their skins and all of their fluids and everything, and they've been finding some good medicines in there. They are used for education and research, especially for the scientific type classes. And in some of the culturals, they are culturally significant. Like for instance, you've got Kermit the Frog is a big frog thingy in the United States anyways. So they also serve as indicators of environmental health. This is because they're sensitive to the outside environment. They've got permeable skin, and they have life cycles that includes time in water and on the land. So if they're living in the water, they're much more less resistant to insecticides, pesticides, or any of the other chemicals we dump in the water. And they're like a canary in the coal mine. They can tell us that there is problems in the environment if we see them getting sick or start getting mutations and things like that. Over the past 20 years, the scientists have reported dramatic declines in amphibian populations around the world. 41% are threatened with extinction. They believe at least 143 amphibians have gone extinct. Another 5%, 311 species are considered to be near threatened. They say that 20% are data deficient, meaning we don't have enough data on them. This is probably mainly the areas in the world like the jungles and that.
Amazon.
Yeah, the Amazon, where you can't get in there very easily. So we don't have enough data to let us know whether they're increasing, decreasing. But they know at least 1/3 of all species are declining in population. Now, in the United States, 38 amphibians are listed as critically endangered, or vulnerable. And I'm not certain how many total amphibians there are in the US. That might say in the long version of the PowerPoint. I can't remember.
We have a lot of amphibians in the United States, like in this area and in Tennessee, that are endemic. They are found, like especially salamanders, they are found only on the tops of these mountains. So those are probably, they're at least vulnerable, if not endangered.
Yeah, the Blue Ridge area in that is quite a bit higher diversity-wise with different species.
Very diverse.
Mm-hmm. And this just shows you where they're more threatened amphibians than that. So along our west coast, it looks like middle America, one specific area in Africa, Asia and Southeast Asia. Well, they've got a lot of eating frogs there, and medical things and that with them. And then Australia, that's surprising, along the East Coast there. Okay. And this is just tallies of how many extinct and endangered or numbers. So
Next slide.
let's see. Oh, and then it's got in white the total number of species. So it looks like in the US we have 440 species. We have 41 that are extinct or critically endangered, and 107 that are endangered or vulnerable. So that's what, at least a third or something like that of our species in the North America, it looks like. Okay, and this is showing primary causes of decline. Habitat loss, of course. We're building more cities because we got more populations. There's also the fragmentation, of course, so they can't get to other places. There's degradation, like if you're logging, that's going to really degrade the environment. There's also the road mortalities when they are moving from their winter sleeping areas to their breeding areas. They often have to cross roads to get to where they're going to be laying their eggs, and they're vulnerable at that point of time of cost. Then you've got coastal habitats disappearing due to sea level rise. So that's going to keep continuing, it sounds like. Okay,
Should be in the next one.
yeah, climate change. So
This should be in the next one.
yeah, air, water temperatures, weather patterns. They're changing. We're starting to get these extreme weather events, especially California right now. They're getting all of those
Not all of it.
the atmospheric floods and everything. So things are changing. So can't do too much about that at the moment. Then you've got pollution and chemical contamination. You've got direct mortality, or you've got mutations or deformities, which is one of the things that we're looking for. But, well, not us, but other people are.
I think frogs with more legs than they're supposed to, or deformed legs.
Yeah. Then that knows that we are really polluting the environment, and it's not just them that's getting affected. It's going to affect us at some point in time, and it's been proven. So you've got environmental changes, increases in predators. That kind of goes in cycles with the weather and that. But you've got the invasive species that are crowding out some of them. I think there is a new, is it a toad or what that's coming into Florida and Texas as an invasive?
What, the marine toad, I think? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
There's all kinds of invasive species in Florida.
Yeah, certainly are.
Of all ilks.
Yes. Okay, then we've got different diseases showing up. You got the chytrid, you got rhinovirus, and several others, and they are specifically targeting the amphibians because of their moist skins and that. So they're much easier to infect due to climate change and things like that, stressing the poor little frogs and that.
Chytrid is a fungal disease.
Okay. Then you got harvesting and exploitation. Some people use them for food, a lot in the pet trade. There's poaching and there's killing. So there is a lot of causes of decline for the poor little guys. And they're just showing a table like with the same information. So let's see. The non-threatened is in green and the threatened species are in red. So yeah, habitat loss is going to affect everybody. Pollution is affecting everybody. Now, that's something you look in more detail if you're interested in that. Okay, so there's different ways to address the threats. One is to educate the public, engage them, like for instance, Frogwatch USA. Show them that frogs and toads are very important to the ecology, that they're not really yucky, and you don't have to get rid of them like a pest or something. There's also regulations. Some of the states, especially Massachusetts, are getting stricter about certain types of wetlands. If there's certain endangered species in them, they will limit the amount of building that can go in there. Management is managing like any type of wildlife. We're doing research. This is like into medicines or other things. And then monitoring to find out what the problems are, which is another thing that the citizen scientists can help with. Okay. This part will be, Judy will be showing you the different frog and toad call identifications, some of the basic biology of the 14 species in the New River Valley. And this information is based on the Virginia Herpetological Society. You want the next slide?
Yep. Let me bring it up this frog thing. Okay. Breeding basics. Usually the boys come first and they advertise. Frogs and toads use auditory signals like birds. They defend a territory. They call to attract mates and to tell other males to get away. They have external fertilization, so they have something called amplexus, where the male will clasp the female, and as she lays the eggs, he will deposit the sperm. The eggs are always just deposited in the water. The frogs they lay their eggs in clumps, and the toads lay their eggs in strings.
And hope the poor guys don't drown their mates while they're doing this.
They can breathe through their skin.
Hmm.
So next slide. I'm not sure. Okay, we'll go through this on the
Yeah. They're just 14 species and 4 families, but we'll got
I
other.
only counted 12, but okay, we'll see what we got.
There's some of them with only 1 county in the New River Valley, so.
Okay. So the true frogs, the main ones, the American bullfrog, the green frog, the pickerel frog, and the wood frog, all have really strong hind limbs. They can jump really well. They all have webbed feet because they spend most of their time in the water. They've got big mouths and they've got smooth skin. They don't have warts like the toads do. They've got smooth, and yes, it's slimy skin. So the four that we have are the American bullfrog, the green frog, the pickerel frog, and the wood frog, and those are the true frogs. So this is the American bullfrog. This is the largest of our frogs, 1.5 to 8 inches long. If you look, where are you going? Go back.
Back. Spooky.
Back. There's the bullfrog and the green frog look similar. The way that you can tell, if you look right behind the eye, there's a line that goes down behind. The circle on there is called the tympanum. That's the eardrum. And that line that starts behind the eye is called the dorsolateral fold. And in a bullfrog, the dorsolateral fold goes down around the tympanum. In a male bullfrog, the tympanum is larger than the eye, the same size or larger than the eye. And the female, it's smaller than the eye. These guys breed May to August, and the the tadpoles can take up to 2 years to metamorphose. And I'm going to try to bring up. Does it have on here where it's got the calls?
Yes, yes.
Okay, go to the next slide then.
Okay.
I was going to try to do it.
Okay.
So they've got a white throat. They also have a white belly. And these guys are big. They'll eat anything. They'll eat snakes. They'll eat frogs. They'll eat. If these are the ones that'll catch a hummingbird if they can. They're in ponds, lakes, slow-moving streams with a lot of vegetation. They're usually found on the bank. They do kind of stake out territories, and you can see them sitting on logs. Their call, I guess, go to the next one.
Okay, that's the range.
That's the range where they are. Okay, their call is, I think of it as joggerump. There you go. It's really low, but it's really, really distinctive. So that's the call of the American bullfrog. When you're doing frog watch, you're not actually identifying these frogs by sight. You are identifying them after dark by sound. So what you really need to do is learn the sounds of these guys. So let's go to the next one.
Okay.
This is the green frog. It looks very similar to the bullfrog, but it's smaller. The dorsolateral fold, see the stripe behind the eye, goes all the way down to the hip bones. Remember the bullfrog, it took a jog south around the tympanum, the eardrum. Go to the next slide. Like I said, the dorsolateral ridges go down the back. These guys are breeding early May to the end of the summer. They again live close to shallow waters, streams, swamps, the edges of lakes and ponds. We do have them in one of our vernal pools in the state park. Bullfrogs and green frogs. This is our most active frog. This is where you might find them. So we do have them here in the New River Valley. Next slide. Their call sounds like the pluck of a banjo string that's loose. Kind of a okay. And they also, yeah, when they jump, they'll give this little squeak when they jump. The pickerel frog is smaller yet. It's 1 3/4 to 3.5 inches. They are mistaken for leopard frogs a lot of times, but their spots are kind of squarish, and we don't have leopard frogs in the area. So if you got a spotty frog, it's a pickerel frog. The only place I have these at the state park are behind the Water's Edge facility, and the grass is right along the edge of the lake. Actually, in the lake. They are calling April to May. They're calling fairly early. Again, damp areas, low, dense vegetation. These guys, nobody wants to eat these guys because they have skin secretions that are reported to be toxic. So if you pick up a frog, number one, wet your hands before you do. I recommend wearing gloves, but I don't do that. Anyway, but wash your hands after you handle things like this. So the pickerel frog call sounds like a snore. We'll go to the next slide. Well, there's where they are. We got them here.
Over.
Yep. But it sounds kind of like a snore. See if you can get the call to. I can't click on the speaker. She has to click on the speaker. Not working.
Can you hear it?
No.
Oh, I can
I
hear it
can't.
on my end. What everybody else?
Hang on.
No.
I
Okay,
heard
hang
it really, I heard it briefly, but
All right, I got it. What do we do before cell phones?
I don't know.
The snoring sound was the pickerel frog. The high-pitched one was the spring peeper. Next slide.
Okay.
The wood frog. That's probably my personal favorite. These guys have a kind of antifreeze in their blood. They could freeze solid and survive. These guys are the first ones out. I heard wood frogs in one of my vernal pools 2 weeks ago. These guys are what we call explosive breeders. They all come together. Yes, absolutely. No hand sanitizer, no nothing on your hands if you're going to handle them. Thank you. That's not part of this protocol, handling the frogs, but I do frog hikes at the park. So anyway, the wood frog is an explosive breeder. They all come together. Their calls sound like a bunch of ducks, and they lay their eggs in these huge rafts on the surface of vernal pools. Wood frogs are vernal pool obligates. They only breed in the vernal pools. They are the first ones breeding, and they lay their eggs, and then they go back. Most of these species, well, the wood frog at least, is fossorial, meaning they live underground. They live in the woods surrounding these pools. They don't stay in the pool all the time. So but we do have them here, and see if this one works. If not, I got it. Anybody hear it?
I can hear it on my end. I'm sorry. I've got the USGS website that you could listen, or the Virginia Herpetological Society, you could listen there too.
Well, let me bring it up. We'll
Okay.
sound like ducks quacking, except I managed to close it down. Hang on. USGS frog calls.
That speaker, there's a little arrow. If you touch the arrow, when you run your cursor by it, that speaker on the right, go to the arrow on the left.
Yeah, turn it up. Oh yeah, that's what happened.
Oh,
Go all the way up.
sorry.
Try that again.
Is that better then?
Touch the speaker with your cursor. Now bring that all the way up to the top. Keep going. There you go. Now hit the speaker. Well, keep going. Now try it. Now click the speaker.
Hit the arrow.
Okay, come down, hit that little arrow.
I did. I can hear it on my end.
Hit the arrow right below where you're at. Okay, hang on. Oh, that's my cursor. My cursor doesn't work. Okay. One second, sorry. I'll go look up. Wood frog. It literally sounds like ducks.
Just to say that none of the calls have come through to other people.
Oh,
Okay, we'll do it this way. Can you hear it this way?
no, I can't.
Can the rest of you hear it?
Not really, no.
Okay.
Well, I can hear real good from my end, and I keep clicking on the arrow to start the thing and everything. So I don't know what's going on because I'm on the share screen, so I would hope that you could hear it, but it doesn't sound like you guys are.
It-
Um,
It did on the bullfrog though.
oh, it did?
We heard bullfrog. I did.
Okay, then I don't know what's going on then.
Someplace on that slide.
Yeah, I've got it all the way up to the top
Yeah.
for the sound.
Well, anyway, they sound kind of like ducks. And there's usually a lot of them. We'll go to the next slide.
Okay.
We'll have to figure out how to do I got an idea. Okay. The next group is the New World tree frogs. We've got the mountain chorus frog, the spring peeper, and the upland chorus frog here. The upland chorus frog and the spring peeper are the more common of the two in this area. The mountain frog, there's only a couple of sightings here. We're right on the edge of their range. Green tree frog, I don't think we have here, Brenda. We have gray tree frog.
Okay, well, I'm just taking it from the Virginia Herpetological Society website for the range
Okay.
maps.
These guys have got long, skinny limbs. They've got enlarged toe pads because they climb.
Like suction cups.
Yep, they've got kind of like suction cups on the ends of their toes. So we'll go to the next one. The gray tree frog, that's a cool little frog. They're kind of mottled on the back. They can actually kind of change colors. They can be different colors. They are gray tree frog. 1.25 to 2.5 inches, so they're not very big. When you hear them calling, you're going to hear them calling from trees. They come to the pools to breed, and then they go back to the pools. Is body, yeah, nose to butt. They've got kind of a cross-shaped pattern on their back, and they're usually gray with kind of a light green background. They breed April to August in shallow water. Tadpoles metamorphose in about 30 days, so they don't stay very long in the water. The differences between these two, and I guess we're going to have to just have them do the frog quiz. We'll worry
Yeah.
about that later.
Mm-hmm.
But they live in the forest surrounding the pools and the ponds, and then they actually breed in the water. And they are known as the rain frog. If you hear a whole bunch of frogs calling, if you hear a whole bunch of gray tree frogs calling, that means there's rain coming. Their call is kind of a low frequency melodic trill, and it lasts 1 to 3 seconds. And a lot of times you can hear that from they're loud. You can hear them from a distance. But you can hear it coming from the top of the tree. One of the distinguishing characteristics in this picture, you can actually see they have yellow on the backs of their legs, which doesn't show when they're just sitting on something, but when they're stretched out, you can see the yellow on the backs of their legs. See if you can get this one to play.
I have been.
It was coming up with a slide at first. Hit just the thing at the bottom there. There.
I have been.
That's
Brenda
not
can hear
working.
it.
Then
Yeah.
I can hear it on my computer. I can hear it fine.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it.
Okay, I don't know what's going on.
And it doesn't work to play it on the phone and hold it up to the computer either. I tried.
Hmm.
Okay, next frog. Cope's gray tree frog looks very, very similar. This is going to be the less common one in our area. They're more coastal, and the call is a little bit different. Again, they're going to be in the trees and shrubs around the wetlands, and they're fairly small. Breeds April through August, so that's when you might hear them calling.
Well, it looks
And
like
again,
the
New River
mountain-
Valley, it's just a couple of counties there. They're not very common here. Yeah, it's a faster trill. I've not ever heard one of these. So see if it'll play. It's not playing.
I've been playing it.
It's not. Okay. Okay. Next
Sorry.
slide. It's okay. Green tree frog. Eh.
Okay,
Oh.
then just through him.
Oh, another one that's called a rain frog. You can hear a whole bunch after rains with bell-like calls. They're really pretty. I've seen them. They've got really, really smooth, bright green skin, and they've got like a yellow stripe down or a white line that extends. They're really pretty. But they're not common around here.
Yeah, one county it looks like.
Yeah, they're um so again, this is probably not one we're gonna find around here. Spring peeper, on the other hand, I bet everybody can identify this one. At
Yeah.
least the calls. This is what you hear. They're very small frogs. They're only like an inch. They have a cross on their back. I think they're Rana crucifer now. They were Hyla crucifer. Crucifer means cross. So they've got that cross on their back. They are little bitty frogs. They're found all around all of the any kind of shallow water in this area will have spring peepers, and they will, again, they climb up on the reeds and the grasses around it, and they call. And we have spring peepers in one of our vernal pools, and Mac has not clocked, but measured them at 40 decibels, like as loud as a jet engine. So they're one of the first signs of spring that we have around here. They breed fairly early, February through June. They like vernal pools and then smaller areas, smaller pools, and they have already started calling as well. During the warm spell we had, yes. They've got the really, really, really shrill peep, peep, peep. Sometimes you hear they do kind of a peep that sounds like a comb, and that's when they're like kind of fighting for territory. It's kind of a thing. That's still a spring peeper. We don't want to confuse that with the chorus frog, the upland chorus frog. The mountain chorus frog, again, is one that's not real common around here. They're gray or brown. They have two curved stripes. You can see the two curved stripes on the back. They live on forested hillsides. These are kind of an upper elevation kind of thing. Small, shallow pools. Breeding season March through July. This is one, again, I have not heard before. They're not all that common in this area. Kind of a quick raspy note. Yep, they're out day or night. Next.
Okay,
Upland chorus frog, you're more likely to hear in this area. They're 3/4 of an inch to about 1.5 inches. They're not very big. They're kind of variable gray and brown. They're in the patterns are variable. Um, they breed in kind of open areas. You're not going to find these in a vernal pool in the woods, but in open areas like grasslands that have ponds in them or that kind of thing. They like more open area. Their call is if you run your fingers down the teeth of a comb, that's what their call sounds like, the upland chorus frog. They're breeding February through April. Okay, I can't do frog calls. Next,
okay,
the northern cricket frog is a tiny little frog, and we know we have them in Craig County. I think I've heard them at the state park, but I'm not positive. They don't sound like a whole lot. They're a little tiny frog. They've got that bright green on the back. They're brown, but they've got the bright green pretty on the back. They're a really cool little frog.
I've seen them out.
And they breed in vernal pools. Again, they breed in shallow ponds and pools. Next. Yep, we've seen cricket frogs at Fenwick Mines. Again, only one county officially that we have them here. So they sound like if you were to take marbles and click them together or stones and click them together. That's what they sound like. Just click, 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 click. No. Toads. We have 2 in the area. We have, well, no, we have 3. Fowler's toad. Okay. Okay, 2 true toads in the beast, but toads tend to live a little further away from the water. The frogs have got the slimy, moist skin. Toad's skin is not as slimy and moist. It is warty and it's drier, so they can live further from water than the frogs do. And you may find toads under your lights at night because they come out and eat the insects that are attracted to your lights. They've got warty skin. Yeah, it's not transmissible. Although some of those have some kind of toxic, not tasting good stuff in them if you break them, the glands at the shoulder, parotid glands. They're stout, they're kind of chunky. They don't move very fast. The frogs can jump really far and really fast. The toads, a little slower moving. We've got 3 potentially in the area, 2 for sure. American toad. We'll go to the next one.
okay,
American toad is the largest of the 3, 2 to 4.5 inches, thereabouts. Again, large warty toad. They breed in shallow pools, meadows, and ponds. They're nocturnal, so they're going to come out at night. One of the things that you can look for to figure out whether you have a Fowler's toad or an American toad is you look at the dark spots on the back, and the American toad is going to have only 1 or 2 warts in those spots on the back. The Fowler's toad will have 3 or more warts in the spots on the back. The shape of their head is different also. But the American toad is the one that's most common in our area. Fowler's toad wants kind of sandier soil. Again, 1 or 2 warts in their dark dorsal spots. They're explosive breeders. They come together and breed in shallow pools. At Crater Lake State Park, they breed in the tire ruts surrounding the dump, and I have yet to see a toad tadpole survive. The tadpoles metamorphose in about 60 days. So you'll hear them out. They've got, their call is a really long, kind of high-pitched trill, and it could be up to 30 seconds long. Kind of a brrr, but a lot higher pitched. I'm an alto, I can't, so I can't do that. But anyway, American toads are cool. Fowler's toad's slightly smaller, and if you look at those dorsal spots, you can see there are more than 1 or 2 warts in each one. And you can see his nose is a little bit shorter. These guys like living near sand, living in sandier soil than the American toad. They're not as picky. But we do have them here in the area. We have, yeah, like down around the river. These guys breed April to August, and again in shallow pools and the margins of lakes and ponds. And they're burrowers. Their call is kind of a nasal, like buzzing sound. It sounds like a baby crying. Kind of a walk, walk. Yeah, yeah. This is not a real common toad in our area. Spadefoot toad is a cool looking toad. I've never seen one. They have what we call elliptical pupils. Their eyelid, if you look, their pupils in their eyes are like slitted up and down, like a cat. They're not as warty as the other toads. And I don't know if there's a picture of this, but the distinguishing characteristic as a spadefoot is they've got a little black, like spade on their back leg that they use to help burrow. Again, these guys prefer sandy soil. They're not very common in this area. And I have never heard one of these to describe it. They breed early. They breed like March to May. Again, shallow temporary ponds. This is a vernal pool obligate. So you're not going to find these in lakes or rivers or even big ponds. They breed in vernal pools. Not in my vernal pools, but oh well. Oh, that's another class. I don't know. Okay, next slide.
Okay. Okay.
So this is a really, really, really helpful chart. This is when you might hear these frogs. I would like take a picture of it or refer back to this. This is when, okay, I think I hear a toad or a frog. What is it? And this is a really good chart about. Yeah, it's on. All of this is on.
It's on the Google Drive. It's on the Akron Zoo one. And I've got a cheat sheet of the sounds of the frogs too, like if it's a wah or a baby crying. So that's also on my Google Drive. So,
Yep.
okay. Okay, we tried practicing, but
You're really
you
hard
have to practice on your own, I'm afraid.
Click on one, see if it works. Probably not. No.
No, then why didn't
Okay.
you hear the bullfrog?
I don't know.
Okay, we're going to take a look at some of the wetlands, which you need to classify where you're listening to them as. Second. Okay, they're defined by 4 different characteristics. They have to have plants that are known to grow in saturated conditions because
They're
that's,
keep wet.
yes. Soils that lack oxygen, water at or near the surface during some part of the growing season. It doesn't have to be the entire growing season. It could be like a vernal pool, or it could be a pond that lasts all year. And they do not have a permanent population of fish in them. If there's a permanent population of fish in them, they will gobble up all of the eggs and the tadpoles. But you already got competing,
Vernal pool.
yeah,
Okay.
okay. They already have their own predators in that anyways, but they don't want to have a fish population in there to decrease it. Okay, there's different types of wetlands. There's marshes, frequently covered in water. They have emergent soft stem vegetation like cattails or rushes or other soft type. Then there's the vernal pools, which form in the spring or during the wintertime from melting snow or rain. They're often dry in the summer, but not always. They might need to wait for a drought year or something like that before they finally dry up. But swamps also have saturated soil, sometimes with standing water. But the plant life is dominated by woody plants. This is like shrubs and trees, as opposed to the marshes, which has got the soft stem vegetation. Bogs, we've got a few of them around here, not too many. They include spongy peat. They get their water from precipitation, rain, snow, or whatever. And they also have highly acidic waters that support low plant diversity.
But they have cool carnivorous plants.
Yes, yes. Fens. Do we have any fens around here? Do you know,
No.
Judy?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we're gonna skip that one anyways. Okay, we could have wet meadows, often found in low-lying farmland. Many may excuse me, may resemble grasslands, but the soils remain saturated throughout the year. Ponds, smaller than a lake, but are also permanent. And there's no really good definition of a pond or a lake. Sometimes there's regulations with different states or counties or whatever. But it's primarily an open body of water and is often bordered by vegetation, which can be either the soft type or the woody type. Ditches. They can have a variable depth and permanence of water. Sometimes it only lasts like a month or whatever. This includes the roadsides, railroad tracks, irrigation, and the tire ruts, which Judy was mentioning. Urban wetlands. And this includes the ponds and the lakes and city parks, housing developments, golf courses. They have the retainment ponds. You've got one, well, at least one on campus, more at Virginia Tech. So this is anywhere where they're required to have the rainwater go down into. Like usually with the shopping centers and that, they got to have retainment ponds afterwards.
Yeah, it's got to have habitat around it to be good for frogs.
Yeah. Okay, site selection and monitoring protocols. And I guess Judy will do this again then.
Okay, first off, it has to be a site. If it's not on your property and you don't have permission from the landowner, it has to be a public property. It's got to be fairly easy to get to because you're going to be going out after dark. You don't start the monitoring until half an hour past sunset. So it's got to be fairly easy to get to. It helps if it's quiet. One of my pools borders two roads. It sits in a Y between two roads, and it is not quiet. And honestly, I don't do like they tell you to do exactly right there, because my frogs don't seem to mind when cars go by. They keep on calling. You technically you have to wait. If a car goes by, you have to wait and start over. I don't have that kind of time.
Yeah, I've got another place on Business 460 in the same area, and well, not the same area, but the same type of conditions. And you often can't hear the frogs or the traffic going by, but they keep going. So it just depends on what
Yeah.
you can hear and can't hear.
So again, you're going out at night, so you need a spot that you're not going to get run over while you're listening.
I'm at a gas station right there, so that helps.
Oh yeah. Okay, next slide. There's a site selection form. I haven't not seen this one, but
It's the same one, I believe. They just made
just
it.
changed it. Okay.
Yes, it's the same one. I checked. It's from 2014, I believe.
They have all kinds of questions, and when you initially find your site, they want latitude and longitude. They want you to give it a name, where it is at, what state, what county, what city, what kind of area it is it in? Oh. Okay. Thank you. The type of habitat surrounding it. Some of them are surrounded by grass, some, fields, some of them surrounded by woodlands. They want to know what type of habitat. They want to know if it's deciduous or coniferous forest that's around it.
Or if
Where
it's
where's
man-made.
the water coming from? That's often hard to find. The origin of the wetland, the source or origin. That might be hard. Permanence, is it a vernal pool or is it a lake or a pond that's there year round? Yeah, going out in the daytime makes this part easier.
Next slide.
Yep. When you go out, you have to make sure it's appropriate weather conditions. The Beaufort wind scale.
There's a slide going that will tell
Okay,
it.
okay, we'll get to that. It's got to be above freezing, because only the wood frogs are out and they're not calling above freezing. If it's raining too hard, then you're not going to be able to hear them. If it's too windy, they're not going to be calling. They're going to be hunkered down out of the wind. So we'll go into the Beaufort scale in a minute. You need to monitor at least 30 minutes after sunset. Oh, good. Only once a month.
Unless you get a buddy.
Twice a week, and I'm sorry, I'm not driving over there twice a week. But when you go out, you need a copy. I take a notebook because I know what I need to write down, but a copy of the monitoring protocol just to remind you, and a data sheet for each visit for each site that you need. Something to write on, something to write with. Thermometer, I honestly look at the thermometer in my car before I get out of the car to go monitor my pools and write that down. A stopwatch, the reason you need that is because of the protocol itself. You need to listen for 2 minutes, or just stand quietly for 2 minutes, actually listen for 3 minutes to get what's there. The idea is that 2 minutes will give them time to get used to you being there and go back to whatever normal is for them. And then you listen for 3 minutes to see what you hear. A flashlight is a good thing in the dark. Cell phones, sometimes I'll actually kind of video my 3 minutes, and then I can go back and listen to it and see if there's something I didn't hear on my own. well, like I said, tape recorder, I use my phone. Camera, it's gonna be dark. Rain gear if it's raining. Kind of optional stuff. Next slide. So on the data sheet, you record all the stuff that you need. You also need to know what the precipitation was in the last 48 hours and what the temperatures have they been above freezing in the last 48 hours. And the precipitation is things like there's been a lot, there's been a little, or there's been some, or there's been no precipitation. But you need to know that. Like I literally will call the park staff sometimes and say, hey, did it rain at your place? Because it didn't rain at my place lately. And I know there's been spotty rain. But you've got to record all this for each visit, for each site.
And if you've got several sites, then it's often easier just to write down the same information, well, except for the temperature at each
Well,
time.
no, the temperature and the times are going to be different for each one.
Yeah, you're right, because you got to do the 3-minute thing. Yeah, you're right.
You're going the wrong way.
Okay, wait a minute. It
Next
keeps
slide.
moving on me. It keeps
Next
moving
slide.
on me.
Yeah, the rainfall may be different if your sites are far apart. So the Beaufort wind scale, it's got it written on the sheets. But a 0 is there's no wind. 1 is there's kind of light air, rising smoke kind of drifts. There's just a little bit light breeze. You may get the leaves rustling. Gentle breeze, the 3 leaves and twigs might be moving a little bit, 8 to 12 miles per hour. They're saying above that, we can't do our monitoring. So I kind of look at the wind speed before I go out and make sure it's not too windy to do the monitoring. And there's spots on the monitoring sheets that you could put that you need to put what the wind is like. Yeah, on site it may be different from where you're at. And like some of mine are down in the woods, so it's not as breezy. There's one of mine that's out on the lake. It's a little windier usually there than it is out in the woods. So you've got to look at, and you can, look at your environment. You don't have to measure the wind speed. Just look at your environment and use these parameters to decide how fast the wind, whether it's a good time to monitor or not. Next slide. So the protocol is, they're saying once a month. Honestly, you're going to miss a lot of frogs if you just do once a month. But from February to August, truth, the wood frogs are calling in January around here, especially now that the weather is warming. So you go out to your pond, you turn off all your lights, and you get quiet, and you listen for about 2 minutes, just quietly. Then you set your timer or whatever you're going to use to measure your 3 minutes, and you listen. And the data sheets have what frogs did you hear, and they also have calling intensity. If you only hear one and you can tell it's just the one frog, that would be a 1. If you can't hear anything in between, that would be a 3. Like when you've got spring peepers going, you've got a 3 probably. So you're going to record the call intensity, and those are written out on the sheet, how to do that, what the intensities are. If you don't know what it is, you can record it, and you can send it to me and I'll try to identify it for you, or you can check with the USGS survey and try to compare it with those. Call it and describe it to me, and I can probably tell you what it is. They say if a session is interrupted by noise, a cell phone ringing, car horn, restart the session, including, so that's another 5 minutes you're doing your thing. My frogs in 2 of my pools, do not slow down when cars go by. So I honestly do not stop my 5-minute period if cars go by. One of the pools that I have, if I get out of the car, that 2-minute period is not a long enough acclimation period. They are not going to start calling within that 2 minutes. I stay in the car and they don't stop calling. So you'll figure out what works for your pools. But you've got to do the 2 minutes wait and the 3 minutes listening each time. Next slide. Here's the call intensity. 0, you don't have any. If I don't have any frogs calling, then there's a thing that you can click on it that's no frogs. Number 1, I might have a bullfrog calling in the corner over there. Or I've got 2 or 3, but I can tell there's only 2 or 3 and I can hear space in between. 2, you can hear some, but there's some overlapping. And 3 is again that full chorus. The spring peepers are going at it and you can't hear anything but the spring peepers. 40 decibels. Jet engine. Next slide.
Okay, this is where we get into the online data entry.
Where you take what you've got on your papers and put it in the website.
And this is where the scientist or the public can view it afterwards and they can do their own little comparisons or whatever. Now the program that Frogwatch USA uses is the Field Scope, which is developed by the National Geographic Society for various community science, citizen science projects. The volunteers can enter and review their data, and then they can either view or analyze their observations in like pie charts or different other graphs and that. And you can look at your observations over space and time, which is nice to find out. It provides instant data access. As soon as you enter it and save, then it's saved. It enhances data quality. That's as long as you've taken your class and gotten certified. They want you to be able to do it correctly so you can enter in good quality data. This also promotes volunteer feedback and interaction. So if you have any questions, you can always ask. It increases the data accessibility and usability as long as you've got good quality data. Okay, and this is the website for Field Scope. Then you will log in. Well, first of all, you got to register. And then after that, then you can start adding your data. Go up to here and add data.
Are they still requiring us to check data early on?
Check what data? I'm sorry, what?
When I first joined, I had to send
Oh,
data sheets to you so you could check them.
yeah.
Are they still doing that?
Huh. Okay, then. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got to be register, you get logged in. Then you enter your sites and then enter the data in each time.
You'll only have to put your sites in one time and then you'll be able to select them
Right.
by name.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you get the coordinates right the first time.
Yeah. Okay, so this is for new volunteers. Click the link to register, fill out the registration information, scroll down to enter chapter, which in our case is going to be the New River Valley of the Virginia Master Naturalist. Then Field Scope will send you an email, and then to how to activate your account. And yeah. Then well, you've got to enter data first before you see any previous data, of course.
I've got it bookmarked on my computer, so I can just go right in.
Yeah, and there are instructions. I don't know if it's here on this. There's instructions that Field Scope has, and I've got it on our Google Drive, and it might be in the Akron Zoo website too. But this is where the data entry is, and you're going to be looking. Why does it keep doing that? I didn't do it. Okay, this is where you select the station if you've got
Stairs.
one or more.
It's part of the PowerPoint. It's not part of yours.
Oh, why is it?
So you're going to click add data.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose, you're gonna at the first time you're gonna do it, you're gonna put your stations in. After that, see where it says previously used stations, you can drop down and pick whichever one you're at.
Okay.
And this is a PowerPoint, so that's not gonna happen. So next screen.
Okay. Site name is required. Avoid generic names or ones that contain personal information. So don't put your name down. You may or may not want to put down street address or something. It just depends. Then you can either generate coordinates by clicking on the map, but better is to enter the coordinates that you've collected in the field. Like if you're,
You can get on your cell phone coordinates,
There's
the
a lot of
GPS
apps.
coordinates. There's a lot of apps that you can use
that will give you coordinates.
that will give you coordinates with your cell phone. So just write down the coordinates the first time you go. And you're going to enter those in.
and this was what Judy was describing to you as a survey site registration. So this is the first time that you put in one of your sites then. It wants to know the site habitat, the wetland type, the wetland origin, which you may or may not know. There is a not know in there in case you don't know. If you don't know the water presence, if it's permanent or temporary, not known. Water source, groundwater, precipitation, lake pond. Then there's other,
You're going to fill in all the blanks.
yeah. Okay. So then this is where we're showing you, either hit the previously used stations, or you can choose ones that are there already, but that's harder to do. I would say if it's your own station you're looking for,
Just do
then
your own stations.
yeah. But if you want to look at other people's, you're welcome to. Okay, and this is the observation data sheet which she was describing. Oh, it also has fog or mist or hail, which you're not going to be out there. They're
I've
not
never
gonna
done
be
it
out
then.
there. Mm-hmm.
But you can see where it says the winds, they want to know the wind speed, they want to know the temperature. They want to know, did it rain while you were there? I have done it in the rain. Well, in the mist. Heavy rain, you can't hear the frogs anyway. So they want to know the precipitation in the last 48 hours, the temperature in the last 48 hours. You can write down the species and the calling intensity. They've got the wind scale out to the side and the calling intensity out to the side. So it's pretty easy to do. And you're going to take it from that sheet and put it into the computer. And then hit save observation, or in my case, save and add another because I have multiple sites.
Okay, so you can edit your site if need be. If you think that you goofed up on something, then you can go back and edit it anyways. So this is where your observations are, all of them, or you can do recent observations. And then you choose which one you want to look at. And
There's
then-
also a comments section,
Hmm,
and in the comments, my sites are also vernal pool sites, most of them. And so I'll go out in the daytime and monitor that for vernal pools, and then go back in the evening and monitor for frog watch. And if I have wood frogs in, say, the entrance pool, I'm going to document that in Frogwatch in the comments. Yeah, that's during the day, but I'll say wood frog egg masses seen during the day today as well. I've heard wood frogs in the daytime out there. I have yet to hear them at night, unfortunately. But and I will document that. I did hear them. They are there, but they just weren't there for the actual observation period. So I put that kind of stuff in the comments.
Or if you've seen the deer walking through your area and that too, so.
Yeah, disruptions.
Okay, so that's the end of the PowerPoint. I want to show you some other areas on the computer that you can go to. This is the person that's taking care of it at Akron Zoo, Carrie Bassett, so you can ask her for help. They have a Facebook and they've got several other places anyways. Okay, so just a second, I need to see if we'll, okay, I've got to go back in again. And go to,
While you're working on that, USGS, what'd you do?
I don't know. Keep talking while I figure this out.
A really good place to go for USGS is USGS Frog Quiz. And that's where I was trying to play the frog calls. It just, you weren't
Okay,
able
here
to
it
pick them
is.
up from
Here
my
it
phone.
is.
Here, there it is. But
This-
take the list of frogs that Brenda has given you, and you can go into here and you can do a frog lookup, and you can play those calls. You can just type the name of the frog in, and you can actually play those calls, and that's the best way to learn them. What I'm going to suggest is that you do that on your own, learn the frogs that we have in the area that she's given you the list of. And then when you
that
come
at
out
all?
for the field training, Brenda,
Mhm.
I can do the auditory quiz
Okay.
when we're doing the field trips.
Oh, good, 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 good.
Would that work?
Yes,
Okay, you're in charge of the written.
right, okay. Can you hear that at all or not?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, that's where that is. And then they've got, after you go through the all 14, 12, 14, whatever you want to do, and listen to their calls, then if you go to the public quiz and you put in the state, and then it'll give you, I think, 10 different ones. Now,
I'll give
some
you
of,
drop down.
yeah. Drop down to Virginia. And then, it says take quiz now, but it might do some of the ones that are not in our area that don't count.
There's frog call lookup down in the middle of the bottom above, like there. No, up, 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 up.
Well, we
Right there.
already did that. I thought we already did that.
No,
Yes.
do that.
Yeah, that's what we just did, and that's what I just showed him.
Oh, and it didn't play. We still couldn't hear it.
No, you couldn't.
Okay, well,
Yeah. But
that's where you
anyways,
go and
this
look
is,
to look up these frogs and listen to them.
it's either here or the Virginia Herpetological Society.
Yes.
Animals, and then frogs and toads. And then it's got some good pictures. This is where I got the range maps from.
Okay.
It's got the calls here, and then it gives you all sorts of information here. Physical description. But that's only like for if you're doing the vernal pool thing and that. You're just interested in the calls
All we
for,
need to know is calls.
yes. Okay, so just a second. Okay, that was field scope. This is field scope, so this is what you go to. I could log in. Oh, phooey. Forget that anyways, but that's where you go to enter your data and everything anyways. Okay, this is the current owner of Frogwatch USA. It's Akron Zoo. So they just started it about a year ago, and they've been able to use some of the information from the Association of Zoos and Aquariums. But be aware there might be some links still from the old AZA, which won't work here. They're trying to correct them all in that. But you can go here, and let's see. Okay,
Maybe
wait.
go back up to to volunteer with Frogwatch.
That's what
There
I'm
you
trying
go.
to find out. Oh, there it is. There it is. It keeps hiding on me. Okay, so this is qualifications, statement of diversity, join a chapter, volunteer training. Okay, current volunteers. After you get in, it shows you how to prepare for the coming season. Then data collection protocols, the weather conditions, how to identify and register, monitoring equipment, safety precautions. Oh, let's see what these dedication. Okay, so then they've got some handouts here of how to use the
If you have questions, you can contact either one of us.
yeah. Okay, and then I sent you, actually, I think Nancy I gotta send yet. The
And Dana,
Yeah, this is the chapter Google Drive. I've sent you the link to the 2024 class. This is the quiz that I'll be sending to you here. I can do that tomorrow morning. You just answer these questions. If you've got a scanner, send them back to me. If not, then just email me the answers, and you just have to get 80% here done anyways. This is open, whatever the term is. Open book, and you can go over the PowerPoints again. As I was explaining, let's see.
is that like on a drive where they can type into it?
No, unfortunately not.
So they need to print it off, fill it out, and then scan it back in and send it to you?
Yeah, either that or just use an email and give me the answers to the questions. So.
Okay.
Yeah, one way or the other, whatever you
And-
can do.
And plan on doing the call portion when we meet for field trips, for the field trips.
Right, so just keep practicing. Okay, so this is the short version, which we just went over tonight. This is the long version, the 4-hour one. If you want to know more details about their biology or the different wetlands or whatever, this has got information about Judy and myself and the current owner, which is the Akron Zoo. Handouts. There's a lot of neat handouts. Some of them I've created myself. Some of them, this is how to use FieldScope. This tells you a cheat sheet for the wetland habitats. This is the survey site registration, the observation data sheets. This is the one where was in there for the months that you're hearing. So that's in there. Let's see. There's a Frogwatch volunteer reference guide, which if you're interested in that, you can go to that. Oh, okay. I've got something here for some of the areas that you can go to that I know about where there's frogs calling on that. So if you're interested in any of these sites, go ahead. But as she was saying, they have to be either in the public or you have to get permission from the owner. Then there's another handout that I created for the frog and toad songs of the New River Valley. Just gives you the name and what their sound of their call was, which is what we were going through tonight, which you couldn't hear.
That's a helpful one.
Yeah, so you could bring this with you if you want for a cheat sheet. But if you're not certain what it is, you can't put it down, but you can record it if you want, and then go to either the USGS website or the Virginia Herpetological Society and see if you can ID it that way. And if you still can't ID it, then you can't count it.
Or contact me and I'll try to ID it for you.
Yeah.
I
Anybody
do all the common ones.
Anybody have any questions meanwhile? Let me get out of here just a second. Wait a minute. Oh, come on. I want to get out. Stop share. Okay.
Field trips.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm gonna do field trips on Friday evenings. It starts a half an hour past sunset. This coming Friday, I have dinner plans. So I'm not sure exactly when I'm going out. Or tomorrow, sorry. But if you're interested in doing the field trip and you want to go out again, we'll do the auditory portion of the quiz at the field trip, and then we'll go out and we'll monitor my sites at Clear Lake State Park. You'll come out, there's right after you go through the contact station, there's a parking spot on a parking lot on the right. We'll start there. We'll do the quiz there, and then we'll go to the different areas and we'll listen for the frogs and we'll do the protocol, and I'll show you how that works. Let them know at the contact station if there's anybody in there that you're doing this, that you're volunteering, and you get in free. Again, weather conditions, if it's too cold or too windy, we can't do it. There's no point in going out. But if you're interested in doing whatever Friday night, let me know, and
Do
I'll
you
let you know
want
what
them to-
time we're going, because it's not going to be the same time every Friday night. Again, half hour past sunset. Tomorrow is going to be later than normal because I got dinner plans. So,
Do
but
you want them to
field
sign up
trip-
on Better Impact or contact you directly?
do both. Yeah, contact me and send me an email and I'll let you know what time we'll meet. It's not going to be late this time of year because sunset is at like 6:30. But we do have to wait till after dark to go out. Let's just not do tomorrow. We'll start next week. Come prepared for the weather. Come prepared to go walking in the woods. Bring a flashlight if you want, and bring your listening ears.
Now, tomorrow morning, I'll send everybody a copy of the other quiz that you need to take. I'll give you a week for you to finish it and send back the results to me. So I'll keep track of who's done that, and Judy will keep track of who's been on the field trips. And then once you get your certification, since you've already done, I think there's only one person that needs to view the recording later this week, but the rest of you let Judy and me know which of the 2 quizzes that you've finished with, and then we'll get you certified, and then you can register on FieldScope after that point in time. Any other questions?
For the quizzes of frog sounds on the Frogwatch with you, Judy, what do? You play something to us and we just say, that's what it is?
That's what it is. Yep.
But we're in a group. Is this individual?
Used to be individual. I don't know how we're going to do it. We'll play it by ear on that one.
Okay.
Go to the
But it's going to maybe take a while for us to learn those songs before we go
Mhm.
out. If we're going to be quizzed right away.
Yeah. It's a process. I I'm only gonna quiz you on the ones that are really common in this area. There's several of them that are only in like one county in the New River Valley. Like the spadefoot toad. It's not likely. We do have Fowler's toads, we have American toads.
Okay, so
Coast
we don't need to know.
frog we're probably not gonna see here. But the gray tree frog, I hear them all the time in the summer.
But, okay, so not all the frogs in Virginia, that long list.
Exactly. Just the ones that Brenda, are you gonna send them a list of which ones?
Yeah, do you want though to
The
do
ones
like,
that we went over tonight.
Okay,
But there's only
Ju-
really a dozen that are real common in the area. There's a couple more that there's sporadic sightings, I guess you'd call it.
so we have
Do you-
peepers in
Excuse me. Judy, do you want to go ahead and send that list out so that people have your email easily available to them? I know you sent an email, but just so that it's easier for some of the people who might be on this group.
Yeah,
Do
we
you know
can
what
do
I'm
that.
saying? Yeah, okay, sorry.
I don't know if I have everybody's emails
oh,
because
I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, Judy, and then you just send them
you
the,
need to add Dana into that list.
yes, I've
joined
got
in
Dana's
tonight.
name and Nancy Pryor's in there, so yes.
Okay, yeah.
I'll give you
Send
that
me that
list.
list and, well, you can send the list out to everybody and include me in there. So I
Yeah.
know.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm. But I would like to get my quiz done within the next week, but depending upon Judy and when you do your field trip, that might take longer.
I'm aiming to go out every Friday night during the season. I want to go out tomorrow because the wood frogs are calling. But anyway,
And,
I have to hear a wood frog during Frogwatch. I hear them when I do vernal pools, but I don't hear them on Frogwatch.
oh.
So
Now, this is being recorded, so it will be put up on the our YouTube channel for the chapter, and I'll give you the link for that too, in case you do wanna listen to this recording again. And the one person that needs to watch it will need to watch it too then, so
you're going to send the list to everybody, including
Mhm.
me.
yes.
Okay, George had
And
another,
put my email on that so that everybody knows how to get in touch with me, my email and my phone number.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you.
I think George had another question.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Question.
oh, well, it was just like, we hear lots of peepers in our neighborhood, and it's mainly just ponds that people have in their backyard.
Right.
And can we monitor that, or are we just going to wild places?
Technically, you're supposed to have homeowners' permission.
Okay, so I have a pond in my backyard, which I have my own permission, and I'm trying to figure out whether there's frogs that we see, one or two in that pond, are wood frogs, but they always jump when we
Yeah.
approach them. They jump in the water and then they hide in the water for a while. Is that a wood frog, you think?
The wood frogs only come to the ponds to breed.
I
The
see.
rest of the time, they are in the woods surrounding the frogs. They are fossorial. They live underground. They live around the pools. The only time they come to the pools is specifically to breed. They're explosive breeders. They all come together. They do their thing and they go back to the woods.
But don't they freeze? You say they freeze.
They can freeze and survive.
So which frogs actually would live, maybe I think they spend the winter in the water. I'm not
No,
told.
they spend the winter in the woods.
Okay. Or do any of the frogs just spend the winter in the water?
Yeah, the bullfrogs and the green frogs and the peepers, the pickerel frogs, they'll all go down under the mud and the water, and they will. They spend these frogs that live in the water spend their lives there.
Yeah.
But the tree frogs, they're going to be out in the woods. They're not going to be the cricket frogs. They're going to be out in the woods except when they're breeding.
But
No
then during the winter time, they're gonna have to bury down underneath the soil, right, Judy?
Yep. Yep, they're gonna be under the leaf litter, they're gonna be under logs.
Well, I keep my ears open because I don't know what they never make a sound. So I'll go out there this spring and see if I can hear them.
I know when I walk around my pools, the green frogs and the bullfrogs, they make this little when they jump in the water, they get upset.
The alarm call.
Yeah, they've got a little alarm call that they make,
All right.
but they actually live in and around the water.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you.
Sure.
Anything else?
And if you want me to come and listen with you, I would be happy to do that.
Well, that's
There's
mighty
something
gracious.
magical about going out and listening at dark in the night. I like listening to owls too. So
Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody for coming. And if you have any questions, after I send out the email with my contact and Judy's contact, be sure to contact one of us then, and we'll be sure to answer your questions in that then. Thank you and have fun time. As Judy was saying, start looking now, especially for the wood frog. Have you heard any peepers yet?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Bruce got him out at Fenwick Mines a couple of weeks ago.
Mm. Okay.
And yeah, somebody had them in Floyd, and I got wood frogs. Yeah. So they're with the warmer weather. Yeah, they're coming up and calling. They may go back down a bit, but they're coming up and calling. And the rain brings them out. So, okay. Any other questions? Thanks for coming out.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
And I'll look forward to seeing you on field trips.